Hey, what's up, everybody? Um, Before we start the compilation, I just want to say, please like and subscribe. We might not be able to reach 1,000 subscribers until the end of the year, but when January New Year starts, our new goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and we need your help to do it. So make sure to like your video and subscribe to my channel because it helps a lot, and it just really means to me and my channel. Alright, enjoy the vlog series. Chapter 2, Mommy Longlegs' Embrace. The survivors thought the worst was over, but deep inside the toy storage wing, Mommy Longlegs awaited. Once a stretchy-friendly robot meant to comfort children, she now moved to a violet limb stretching at possible angles. The owl joy was disruptive. It wasn't happy, it was a countdown. As the survivors tried to escape, Mommy Longlegs' arms wrapped around the walls and ceiling floors, ensuring anyone nearby. The survivor barely escaped with her life, luring Mommy Longlegs into a malfunctioning conveyor belt, trapping the monster temporarily, not knowing that the factory's horrors were far from over. Chapter 3, Prototype and Nightmare Critters. Rumors spread of the factory's darkest creations. Experiment 1006, the terrifying prototype, has been designed as the ultimate toy. Alive, smart, and deadly, it stalked the corridors, silently blending in with the shadows until it struck. Then came the Nightmare Critters. Bunzo Bunny hoped silently through the hallways, its mechanical ears twitching. PJ Puckapillar slid crawling the ceilings in a wiggling nightmare. Catnap, with his silent claws and glowing eyes, and Dog Day, the Hulk dog hybrid, turned into nowhere safe for its trap. No one was safe. The room was filled with echoes of panic breathing, metal scrapping against concrete, and the haunting giggles of abandoned toys. Only fragments of survivors, footage of glimpses of the horrors, a shadow here, a claw there, and always chilling laughter of toys that should exist. Chapter 4, Kissy Missy and the New Hour of Joy. As the hours passed and the factory's darkness seemed to grow alive, rumors whispered of Kissy Missy, and once adorable counterpart of Huggy Wuggy, had now grown bigger and more merciless. Her kiss wasn't sweet, it was deadly, leaving anyone who came near paralyzed with fear. The factory seemed to have spawned more nightmare critters every night, twisted toys, failed experiments, and horrifying than the last. The survivors from earlier chapters are now whispered of the wind of the owl joy, promised only one thing. No one truly escaped. By this time, the sun rose over, and at Bennett Playtime Co., the factory was quiet again. Too quiet. But deep inside, the toys waited as always, stretching and hunting was always ready for unexpected visitors, brave or foolish enough to step inside. Chapter 5, The Final Hour. The survivors who had somehow evaded Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, the prototype, and the Nightmare Critters thought they had seen the worst. They were wrong. The factory had shifted. The walls shaked like rubber, the floors creaked under the visible weight, and the air smelled like old toys and rust. The hour of joy was near its peak. The time itself seemed slow. Kissy Missy, and now the massive terrifying, glided through the hallways, her eyes glowing crimson, and her kiss had grown worse. Even it touched, it seemed frozen in fear, paralyzed with hallucinations and their worst memories. Behind her, the prototype silently crept, its metal frame bending in the shadows around it. It didn't need to in the case, because it could feel its presence always just behind the step. The survivors ran through the maze of broken assembly lines, Bunzo Bunny's high-pitched chop echoed every corner, and PJ Puckapillar's slightly his body wiggled on the wall ceilings, ready to drop down without warning. Catnap's claws scraped the floors like knives, and Doday's growls shook the pipes above. One survivor, the survivors ran. The one survivor clutching the flashlight and reaching the toy's testing chamber, where the place rumored to have hyper control the control panel that could stop the factory's horrors. But as they approached, Huggy Wuggy appeared impossibly longer, faster than ever. The survivor barely dodged it, ducking behind a stack of toy crates. Mommy Longlegs dropped her inlearned arms from the ceiling, pinning the crates together like a trap. Kissy Missy's giant shadow blocks the exit. Prototype's cold, calculating the maid's every move. Every direction was each death. Every moment was near. The survivor remembered the rumored old factory notes. The owl droid wasn't a countdown; it was a reset. However, survived the owl droid could escape, the factory would regenerate into new toys, new horrors, new hunters, and if someone fell, the toys would feast, and the cycle would restart again. Taking a few deep breaths, the survivor lunged at the control panel, dodging claws, arms, teeth, and sparks flew the machine, roared to life. The nightmare critters screeched and pounded on the metal floors, but the lights came on, and the factory seemed to shiver. For a moment, it seemed like victory, and survivors had saw it, hidden in the opening room, filled even more toys, larger, faster, and more horrifying than you ever faced. The final hour has only Chapter 6, The True Hour of Joy. The survivor's hands trembled over the control panel, sparks flying as he tried to activate the emergency shutdown. The factory groaned as if it was alive. The walls stretching and bending, turning familiar halls into a labyrinth of twisted metal in the shadows. From the newly opened hidden room would emerge toys larger than ever seen. A monstrous Kissy Missy displaced herself, each smiling with one wicked, impossible grin. Bunzo Bunny now towered as a robotic rabbit nightmare, its ears deadly braids. PJ Puckapillar stretched across the ceiling, its significant body ready to drop above like a cruising ship. Catnap and Doddy were no longer alone. Smaller nightmare critters, calling and multiplying endlessly. The survivor realized with the horror factory, it didn't make toys, it grew monsters of fear itself. Every scream, every desperate heartbeat, every memory of terror became fuel. Huggy Wuggy's eyes blazed as long, faster than ever, while Mommy Longlegs' arm slammed down like its pistons from above. The prototype appeared beside Kissy Missy, cold and calculating, moving the perfect coordination towards her chaos. Escaping seemed impossible. The survivor's only chance is the control panel. They had to override the factory systems completely, but the panel required sacrifices. Light flashed. The factory demanded one soul per active monster. Every nightmare critter, every Huggy Wuggy, and along with a shadow came from the people inside. With trembling finger, the survivor hit one final switch. The factory shuddered violently, lights flickering. Monsters shrieked in the mechanical agony, luring the concept of factory tried to defend itself. The walls rapped one last time, pushing everything towards the core, or the central core. Then, silence. When the survivor awoke, the factory was at earliest quiet. Dust settled at the broken toys. The hour of joy has ended. When the but the shadows were still moving, just underneath the surface. Somewhere in the distance, a faint giggle echoed. The survivor realized one truth: the hour of joy never truly dies. It waits, it grows, and the hour of joy will come again. Outside, it arose over an abandoned building. It looked ordinary. Inside, toys strittered, preparing for the next cycle, hungry for screams. And somewhere in the deepest of shadow, Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, Prototype, and Kissy awaited. Chapter 8, Glitch in Reality. The survivors thought the nightmare was over, but they were wrong. Playtime Co. had evolved. Glitch Poppy was first appeared. A broken, flickery doll with a shimmered, wrapped in reality. Walls bent if it was alive. Walls lived back impossibly, and the doors led into nowhere. Every step the survivor took, the environment shifted. The nightmare critters now moved in a terrifying intelligence, coordinating like a single hive mind. Huggy Wuggy and Mommy Longlegs stalked the multiple angles at once. Hybrid nightmare critters combined further. Dog Day with Catnap's claws, Bunzo Bunny with PG Pug's segments, creating a monster that survivor could never anticipate. The survivors realized that the owl droid wasn't just alive, it was learning. Every fear, every scream, it fed it. The owl droid had become more than a countdown. It was growing into an ecosystem of Chapter 9, The Collector's Game. Deep inside the hidden core, a new presence emerged. The Collector, a shadowy humanoid wrapped in Playtime Co's packaging, had the power to control nightmare critters temporarily, orchestrating traps and ambushes to a deadly precision. The survivor tried to escape, but the factory had transformed into a labyrinth of scent traps. Hybrid nightmare critters, Shadow Huggy Wuggy, Shadow Mommy Longlegs, and even smaller spawned toys attacked the waves while the collector manipulated them like puppets. The survivor realized that escaping was no longer a physical challenge, it was a mental one. Every hallucination, every fear, every memory could be used against them. The factory wasn't just haunting, they were playing a cruel, intelligent game. Chapter 10, Nightmares, Twins, and the Infinity Hour. The ultimate horror emerged. The Nightmare Twins conjoined fusion of Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy, constantly shifting form. They could split, frank, merge, making them impossible to predict. Glitch Poppy wrapped reality itself, bending hallways, floors, and ceilings, creating deadly traps. The creator orchestrated every nightmare critter, while Shadow Huggy and Shadow Mommy filled the darkness, and hybrid creatures haunted every corner. The survivor fought desperately, trying to reach the factory exit, but as every attempt led to a new layer of horror, as Infinity Maze, where toys adapted into their strategy, and now joy had become truly internal. The last scene fades, the last survivor's terrified eyes, and Nightmare Twins loom overhead, their guns merging into one impossible, monstrous smile. Outside the city seemed normal, but as the faintest echoes giggles, promised the nightmare from far over. The hour of joy was infinite. The factory never resets. Toys will never stop hunting.